how to send an objection in writing before July the 27th and by email. The address, all the details are on that leaflet. And also, I'm repeating what I said at the beginning, that there is not too much point in repeating the general arguments. It would make more sense if everybody wrote back from a building society or a residents association on how their own area, which you have heard now from Shweta, is going to be affected. Because that will make a difference. There's no point repeating what, the general arguments against a rule. Rishi Agarwal.
Thank you, Daryl. I've been asked to speak in Hindi by Nazneen. So I'll try to do a combination of both. Hello, yeah. So I'll try to do a combination of both. And also, if Daryl, you would allow me some latitude, I'll just not speak on the environmental aspects, but how I see it predominantly also as a governance issue more than environment. And just to start off in the beginning, because we discussed the whole thing about sending in our views by 27th, I think हमारी सबसे पहली डिमांड होनी चाहिए कि दैट डेट इज़ नॉट सफिशिएंट, उसको 27 तारीख से और आगे बढ़ाया जाना चाहिए. और दूसरी बात मेरी ये रहेगी, क्योंकि सिंस आई हैव बीन इन्वॉल्व इन एक्टिविज्म फॉर 15 odd years नाउ, मतलब पेपर वर्क alone just does not help. I've been sitting with politicians for the past, I think, 12 months, from Vinod Tavde to very recently Shailesh Fanse, everybody. And the amount of conviction they have कि ये project city के best interest में है is so good, so enormous that if you were to sit a little bit longer with them, I would come back convinced that yes, okay, this is absolutely the best thing that is happening to Mumbai after I don't know what, after maybe the reclamation and joining of all the 7 islands. So the conviction levels in the politicians is extremely high. So if you're thinking that you will just write a letter and somebody will go and stamp it, please believe me, it might just not work, because some of you might be aware that people on the other side, the industry, has launched a massive campaign of putting in support letters in favor of Coast Road. Nitin Bhai is here, he forwarded us one of such letters. And from many people I'm hearing that there are so many people, and this is a very well organized campaign going in. One of the MP's own mobile phones, from his account SMSs are going, from his company's account SMSs are going, asking people to please support the Coast Road. And the general dominant view on the other side, people who are supporting the Coast Road, is that these bunch of environmentalists, I mean, they don't understand anything. The government is out to do something good, and all that they've done all their life is be a spoil sport and spoil people's plans. Possibly they don't have absolutely anything else to do in life and no time, and that's why they are able to do all of this. And so the great emotional appeal is that for once, give time for your city and go out and support the Coast Road. And paid environmentalists as well. Yes, that is also the note which is going on, that possibly we are getting paid. I don't know whether the Ford Foundation, Greenpeace, whoever is paying us, that's the whole thing. And I just hope
If only it was true.
If only it was true, okay. I just hope our bank accounts don't get locked after this speech. So that's the kind of a euphoria which is being created. So if you're just going to write letters, that's not going to be sufficient. Please go and meet your local MP, your local MLA, who incidentally is a very big supporter, and your local councillor. So this is all going to be the thing. I mean, I have a very dear association with the mangroves behind quite some time back with Roshan Daboiwala. Some of you knew her. We worked on saving some of the things. I mean, generally there was not much of danger over here. But the big point to argue is that man does not live by bread alone. And in a sense, man does not live by transportation alone. And are we entitled to this beautiful vista of our sea? And much more than environment, I think from almost day one, for me, it has been a question of, I mean, what are we going to substitute this view with? Even if you're going to build it on stilt roads. I mean, the location we are sitting on is absolutely fantastic. I think we couldn't have had a anti-coast road meeting at a much better place. We don't want this whole vista of ours to be distorted. And if the coast road was going to actually solve the city's traffic congestion, maybe I would just be very happy and just go ahead. But having been into this whole joblessness, and since I have no time, I've been involved with too many environmental issues for a very long time. It's still in my memory that in the late 90s, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, who built the 55 flyovers for Mumbai, that time the promise was that we will build these 55 flyovers and Mumbai will have absolutely no congestion. Since late 90s, Mumbai has built 55 flyovers. Mumbai has built Jogeshwari-Vikhroli Link Road, Santacruz Chembur Link Road, Eastern Freeway, and number of other small and big road projects. And we know the reality that just building flyovers, building more roads is not helping us at all. And it is really unfortunate that sitting in 2015, when we have a wealth of information and knowledge from what America has done, what Europe has done, what Southeast Asia has done, what Japan has done, Korea has done in the past 70 years. There's wealth of knowledge to suggest that just roads does not help. And the reason why I say just roads does not help, because I'm not one of those who is brutally anti-car infrastructure. I think some amount of roads, yes, definitely are required. Just a car statistic, since Hussain and Shweta were commenting on it, I was checking it 2 weeks back. The highest number of car ownership in the world is in Luxembourg. And any ideas per 1,000 people, how many cars are there in Luxembourg? Anybody wants to shout out? No. So, per 1,000 people, Luxembourg has 760 cars. That's a phenomenally huge number. America has something like 650 or 700. And America otherwise is the leader. The 2009 numbers which I found for India were 18 cars per 1,000 people. So possibly I'm assuming, even if it is doubled by now, 30-35 cars per 1,000 people. And the whole idea is that China and India have to be the next growth markets. And China already is somewhere at the 100 mark, 100 plus. With 100 plus, we know Beijing is world famous for its air pollution and its gridlock and everything. Now, if in Mumbai, if in India, I don't know, maybe the Mumbai average might be higher than the India average possibly, and the metros, we don't want to distort all of India and the bottom 700 million with the top 300 million, etc. So even if Mumbai has 50 cars per 1,000, we are going to head for a nightmare if you're going to think of 100, 200, 500, 700. And these are all learnings available from around the world. And we have the option right now, sitting in 2015, to leapfrog into a next level of mobility, where we are planning for people and not cars. Incidentally, for past 2 years in the transport planning circles, we've all been going gaga about this young student, 20-year-old in Helsinki, Finland, who as part of a master's thesis submitted the thesis that by 2025, Helsinki can be completely car-free. And her thesis was that using the beautiful device which we all have in our hands now, the smartphone, you can easily predict people's commuting needs and be able to provide mobility on demand. So if I know that from here now I'm going to go in Andheri in 30 minutes, I can punch it into my smartphone and my phone will tell me back, okay, yes, you've got a bus which will be going, or you have somebody else who's going in that direction and you can pool with that person because that person has shown an interest in carpooling up to Andheri, or I could share a cab. You could do 100 things with just this simple device called smartphone. So what are we spending 13,000 crores? And why isn't our government interested? I mean, for 5 years now, all our BST buses have been fitted with GPS devices. And that's turning out to be a big scam, because even after being fitted with GPS devices on my smartphone, if I want to know next which bus is going, I cannot find out. So, I mean, that's why I didn't want to take the environment angle too much. For me, that is very dear, because some of the mangroves 15-17 years back in Versova, Lokanwala, which I very fondly saved and was all the front lines, and we were fighting builders and people coming and dumping in the middle of the night and chasing and police complaints, and in an era when we didn't have even mobile phone, forget smartphone. And all of those mangroves are proposed to be crisscrossed with all kind of things. And also to imagine that just behind us will be one of the connectors which will come in. So you can imagine the chaos at the CCD junction when vehicles coming in from Malad and everywhere start coming over here. My reading is that this promenade will definitely not remain within 5 years if the coast road comes up, because you will necessarily need to widen it. This promenade will have to go. And in a sense, this promenade really does not belong to Bandra alone. This, in a sense, belongs, I mean, if you were to do a survey over here, you would find people from around the country, I think, who are coming here. I mean, people who might have just landed in the city also will make it a point to go to Marine Drive or Carter Road, first time who are coming to Bandra, to Mumbai. So this is almost, this whole view is a national heritage which we are talking of. And it's really crazy to play around with it like that. Their report is like really one of the worst reports which you can write. It just throws statements off the hat. I mean, basic ethics of report writing is that you at least acknowledge what your source is. They're just throwing things. I mean, it will reduce pollution, it will give vehicles with 80 kilometers per hour, and I don't know what all kind of statistics are being thrown with no modeling be done at all if you're going to go from 50 to 150 cars per 1,000 people, etc. I would just like to close it over here, not to take much more time. Coming back to the late 90s, it was promised that if we were to make these flyovers on Western Express Highway, from Bandra Kurla complex, you would reach Borivali in 30 minutes. Today, if you all were to go to Twitter and check a Twitter handle called Mumbai Trafline, 70% of the complaints of people on that are that they're completely choked on Western Express Highway. You're taking a good 2 hours to reach from Bandra Kurla complex to Borivali. On any normal day. You could, today is a Sunday, but tomorrow this time, if you were to log on to Twitter and check that handle, completely choked. So we have a history of false promises being made to us, and I think one can safely assume that everything that is being said about the coast road is just another false promise. Thank you.
Apart from the Bandra West Residents Association, which has taken the initiative in organizing this meeting, there are many others from different organizations in the audience. To begin with, if Arup Sarbadikari and Robin Nath from Bandra Bandstand Residents Trust, Hansel D'Souza from Juhu Citizens Welfare Trust, or I forget the exact name, many other associations, very prominently Shama Kulkarni from Agni, and she also represents Nagar, which is very active in South Mumbai. And sooner rather than later, we are thinking of having a demonstration where we will hold hands, form a human chain from Nariman Point till maybe Gorai or some such place. Now,
there's a Facebook page and a petition as well online. Please just go ahead and spread the word. There are very few signatures on it as of now.